to be back. So, welcome to Roll for Mischief. This is a gothic horror inspired game. Oh, I've done this terribly. Welcome to the Shroud of Arrakon, a gothic horror inspired D&D game where monsters are heroes and everyone has a dark secret that they're hiding. This is intended for a mature audience. We do include themes and topics that may be triggering in nature. Honestly, it would be too hard probably for us to list all of the ones we cover, so just be aware if you maybe have certain sensitivities to some things. There may be things that come up, but on the whole, we do try to be lovely and wholesome, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel somewhere. You just got to look hard enough for it. On that note, let's introduce who we are and what we're doing. Asa, do you want to start as DM?
Oh yeah, I'm Asa, and I am the dungeon master of this particular chapter.
And secondary character.
Oh, I guess I could say my player character. I am Visik Alrius, or well, he may have a different name, and he may also be not a he, but a they. Anywho's, yeah. So when I'm not chapter DMing, I am Visik Alriusing. It'll be great. Do I pick somebody now?
We should just pick order in future, but Alex, do you want to go?
Yep, sure. I'm Alex. I play Silene Vermilion, a human bard.
And I'm Matthew. I play Berin Formark, the half-orc fighter.
And I'm Kerry, today's boss, and human wizard Tara Braun. I will point out what our usual structure is. We do rotate DMs, so while Asa is DM for this chapter, we will be graced with another player's DMing skills for future ones. And on that note, do make sure that you're following us on our socials. We are Roll for Mischief on, I was going to say basically everything, but it's Facebook, not Facebook. Facebook was the one I was like, don't say Facebook. Roll for Mischief on Instagram and Twitter and one day TikTok when we can be bothered to upload some clips. You can also find us on our website, which is rollformischief.co.uk, where you can find loads of information about our characters and the island that we play on, including fan art and our official art and a little bit about us too. If you're not watching us live right now and this is on the YouTube channel, one, I apologise for how messy this intro was. Two, we do play live on Tuesdays on Twitch, Roll for Mischief. Twitch.tv/rollformischief. I'm getting fired after this, don't worry. And if you do want to
taking my job back.
If you did want to catch up, you can also catch all of our highly edited podcast episodes on pretty much any podcast platform that you fancy. With that, I'm gonna hand back over to the expert of all of this. Asa, do you want to give us a recap?
Calling me the expert is a major, I don't know, more confidence in my abilities than I have. All right. Oh, that was a cough that almost came out in the middle of sentence. The beginning of last part, we all found out that we were locked in this house. These 4 adventurers that we are, and 4 other strangers with their own sort of agenda. That's when you learned that they know each other, and they kind of are working together in some form of rebellion resistance against the Monarch, something that Artemisia felt like she could trust with Tara, only to realize that of the group, Tara is very much the loyalist, and also was the only one of the PCs that didn't see the Monarch being all shifty. So maybe the wrong person to tell. In that time, Borstad, who had lost his arm saving Silene from spinning metal floor. Silene had healed him, and Amelia had scooped up his arm. He's like, hey, maybe I can sew that back on another time. So all of last session, which kind of just got ignored, Amelia was walking around with an arm, which could have played up some great humorous purposes, but this is a serious game with serious people. But after realizing you guys were locked into this mansion, there was the one creepy door that was not there before everything got all cryptic and gross. That was now there and creaking open, led to a courtyard with a wonderful trap you guys were able to subvert with rubble. I'm not bitter about that at all. And that led to a courtyard where there was a fountain of 3 women holding up a basin, and inside that basin was like the charred remnants of something that had been burned at some point, which was to draw a parallel to the mural before it had changed, of the woman standing on the mountain holding up the sun to the sky and using the rays of the sun to sort of push back the mist. And inside that courtroom or courtyard were other doors, each of them sort of parallel, 4 walls, 4 doors, all of that. And each of the maidens had a space for an amulet that matched a certain shape, a square, a rectangle, and an oval or a circle. And each door had an image or an object like set into it. There was a square mirror, a brick, which is typically rectangular, and a circular ball bearing that was all rusted. In each of those rooms was some form of obstacle. The brick room had a bridge over a massive chasm full of slime. The ball bearing room had a long corridor with about 2-inch diameter holes along the walls. And of course, the square room with a mirror on the door led to the mirror room, which was an octagonal room with mirrors on each of the 8 walls, including the wall that opened into a door. After much debate about how to proceed in dealing with these fairly obvious traps, you all decided to encounter the mirror room. And inside the mirror room, 2 unfortunate individuals were sucked into mirrors, one of them being Berin, who was sucked into a dimension of darkness where something in the dark was essentially just there and taunting him, and threatened to come out with him. Essentially was trying to be the cryptic, like, I'm going to use you as my gateway into the world. And Matthias, the Green Dragonborn, who was the one who had sort of revealed the mechanisms of the trap that you had encountered in the courtyard room, was sucked into a room full of fire. And by the time you had all figured out how to, like, the easiest or the quickest way to get these people out of these rooms, Matthias had succumbed to his injuries from being burned. And after his mirror was shattered and he fell out of it, he was already dead. However, he had a square mirror amulet clasped in his hand. And when Berin came out, only Berin saw this, but there were 2 shadows emanating from him. And if I remember right, he had called for help, and one of the shadows had enveloped the other. After Matthias's death, the Goliath, Amelia, took him out into the courtyard. Visik helped Berin out of the room, while Artemisia, Tara, and Silene left together-ish to discuss what they could do next, while Captain Borstad just went on a rampage, shattering the mirrors, very upset at the loss of his friend. So I do believe that kind of does it. Oh, and the decision was made that the next room to be encountered was the bridge room. And because of the way that I like to edit the YouTube videos, the very last line of our YouTube video is Berin saying, "All right, what are we going to do about the bridge?" Because I like my last lines. So that being said, let's open it up to some feelings. I'm sure that everyone has taken away something of their own, and we can talk about that now. I'm going to pick Matt to go first because he looks ready to talk.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna pick on me. Feelings. Well, Baron's had a bit of an up and a down past couple hours, I would assume. Because it all started with this big fountain once we got into the courtyard, obviously. I mean, that was a piece of cake. But this giant fountain, Baron was just like, right, okay. I've read enough pulp fiction novels in my time on this island. There's something about this. There's something about it. And he goes and he checks everything that he can and then just completely and utterly falls short. It's just like, geez, there's actually nothing here apart from, I suppose, there's a couple of shapes, but square peg, round hole. It'll be fine. And everyone goes out to these different doors, and from that point, indecision just plagues him, and just that feeling of, I am not prepared for this. I don't know what to do. We've got a room full of mirrors, we've got a pole, and we've got a bridge. Like, give me something that I can swing my sword at, and we'll be fine. But this stuff, it's not working. And he took that out on Tara a little bit. Might have been a little bit grumpy, ever so slightly. Who knows? Might have charged into a room of mirrors, only to realize that there's nothing there apart from the mirror. He could see the little ball bearing on top of the pole. And any other time, it's not there. But through the mirror, there's the ball. And kind of like, okay, right, we'll take note of that. And then we all get in, everything happens, sucked into the darkness, and fear, unbridled fear, just went straight through him. Visions just jumped straight into his mind. It's that point in the night where you're not quite sleepy enough and it's all dark, and then your brain just goes wandering and you're just like, oh god, no, this is going to dark places, and straight away dark places, and the shadow, or, well, a shadow, I don't know what it was just like, I am going to take over you. And Tara, actually very kindly coming to the rescue on this one. It's not so much the blind leading the blind, it's more of the person with sight leading the blind. Follow my voice! So that was great. And then just shadows. Slight feeling of power towards the end. Who knows? I mean, can you get power from a shadow? A shadow's a shadow. It's just kind of this thing that's projected on the floor. So that's all right. But apart from that, Soter's kind of jumped on and just boom. Right, we've got one down. We've only lost one person. Could have been worse. Could have lost them all. Although one is certainly not the number we were hoping for. Let's do this. So, Berin is going to inherit a certain finale to his feelings, and that's the one word ending, resolution. Or resolve, I suppose.
One of these days, I'm just going to clip all your, one word. I'm just going to have a Matt reel of the single word recaps. Also, shot for calling your character Soter, in case you didn't see that.
Wait, what?
I didn't even notice.
It's fine. You'll see it later.
Wait, what? When did I?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Matt.
Alex, do you want to go?
I figured Alex was going to go. She was already talking.
Oh, sure, I'll go. As we all know, Alex did in fact cry last session, as is the norm, really. And that did also mean that Silene was crying. Silene is very young. I don't know if I've brought this up before. She's only 19. She hasn't really seen a whole lot of the world. And she tries to pretend like she's older, but she's not. She has never, as far as she knows, she has never seen anyone die in front of her. And kind of in a way that makes her feel like she failed them. She's never had, she talks to spirits all the time. That part, that's fine. The spirits, they died a while ago usually. She doesn't know them. This is the first time she's ever talked to a spirit that she watched die in front of her and that she had just spoken to as a living person 10 minutes before. So she is extremely shaken and not really capable of making informed decisions. She's technically brain smart, but I don't think she has any framework for how to deal with anything that's going on right now, which is also why she spent like the first half of last week just like trying to get all of her stuff together. She didn't know what to do, but she thought probably she needed her stuff. So she's individually picking up tarot cards instead of whatever else she was supposed to be doing. She did have a chance to use a few of the powers that she'd never used before, or like only used in practice in college or whatever. And unfortunately, the excitement of being able to do those things for the first time was pretty much swamped by her now very fresh grief over someone she just met, but she's just not prepared to deal with that. And she's also, she doesn't know what to do with Tara because she obviously was very attracted to her. She felt a little rejected and then now feels like Tara's just very unemotional and uncaring, and they haven't really gotten into an argument yet, but there's a distance there now. And so now she would have to rely on Berin, the only other person she knows, or Artemisia, who, well, she does know Artemisia and maybe has reconciled with her, but they've been rivals for a really long time, so there's going to be some stuff there. So yeah, she feels kind of a little bit lost and young and afraid.
And that brings us to Tara, who is kind of the exact opposite right now. Tara, she is an ex-soldier. She is very, or what we had seen of her at the party, she's a very measured, well kept together person. For example, her outfit was described as purposefully casual, purposefully so effortless. It seemed like every action that she's taken, every sentence that comes out of her mouth has been thought over and fully decided. However, once they've sort of hit these problems and she's been faced with, first of all, claims that the Monarch is not a good person and who has done this, and then suddenly thrown into this trap place. This house is suddenly full of traps, and first of all there was the scary statues outside, and then there's the platform that they had to stop, and then the mirror room. She started to lose it a little bit. She's definitely, to be honest, let's say she's starting to lose it. She, as everything was happening and this guy was burning to death inside this mirror and Berin had been taken inside another mirror, this was when all of those memories and essentially like the PTSD of her sort of army days came kind of collapsing back in on her. Opposite to Silene, Tara has seen a lot of death. Like being in the army, plus all of the rumors that we haven't really touched on in the stream, but if you've listened to the audio bio on our podcast platform, you would know that she has kind of been followed place to place by rumors of just death and complete like troop. Well, I don't know what that word is. Troops of people just being killed, and her being the only one to have witnessed it and to come back from it. So this isn't really different to her, but to be faced with it again now, since coming out of the army, everything's sort of falling back in on her. She is snapping a lot more. She's gone into, we have a mission, we just have to get this done, we just have to get out of here mode. She'd already like shut down ideas that she doesn't believe are going to work, like scaling the side of the building. She very heavily snapped at Silene, and she's now just fully preparing to deal with how we get across this bridge. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, keeping with my hopes to not make anybody cry, let me go ahead and set the scene for your first situation this part. So, damn it, there's the cough. It'll come. Don't worry. So you are all existing in your own ways inside this courthouse or courtyard. Holy shit, not courthouse. It's a different thing. After what has just transpired. Amelia rests Matthias's body in an overgrowth of grass in one corner of the courtyard. She folds one of his hands over his chest and kneels beside him, holding the other. And she bends over and whispers something softly in his ear. Spectre comes by and licks at their conjoined hands. Borstad steps over in a bit of a huff, a bit of like a direct path from the mirror room to where Matthias's body is laying, dropping his sword along the way. He comes and he places a bloody hand on Amelia's shoulder, and you notice in the case of Borstad, he's got all these minor little nicks and cuts from flying glass shards, most likely. And he looks down at Matthias's body and says, "Brother, in the mists, we will meet again." And Artemisia comes over and cradles his head in her lap and kisses him on the forehead. And the three of them sort of huddle over their fallen companion for a bit, while the rest of you do whatever it is that you are going to be doing.
God damn it, Asa.
You cried already? Oh my god.
Shut up.
Yeah, what are y'all doing?
Well, I think Tara is already in the brick room, sort of. Well, not like in, but she is definitely door open, surveying the room, starting to weigh up options. I don't know if someone was over there with her or anything, but that's what she is.
I don't remember. I think Silene was heading over there, but I think at the moment, if Tara's there, she might not be there. She has to figure out her shit. Silene might still be just kind of slumped against the wall, feeling all kinds of verklempt.
Soter's just
Nope. Oh my god. You really want to play the old game, huh?
Soter's
Berin.
not here.
Berin is going to do something completely different to Soter, seeing as they're different characters. And Berin, I think, is going to. Ooh, Berin's going to follow Tara, and try and regain some, credibility as an orc, and see if they can brainstorm what might happen in the bridge room.
Could you give us another description of the bridge room?
I absolutely can do that. I was just getting there. So my previous description, what came from Borstad, since I don't believe any of you actually opened up the door and looked. I think he took on that job. But right now it's Tara and Berin in the bridge room. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this room, it's there's essentially two platforms on each end of the room, with a large just chasm cut down the full center of the room. And the chasm is about let's see, it's probably about, it's 40 feet long, and then the little ledges you're on are about 10-foot diameter ledges, so not super close or not super spacious. But this room you're in is squared off, and the chasm itself just keeps on stretching beyond the walls of the room. Inside the chasm is some kind of jelly or ooze, about, I don't know, 60 feet or so down. And across the ceiling is a similar kind of ooze that seems to be dropping into the chasm. And then this bridge is made up of 8 glass panels, 2 side by side, stretching across the 40-foot gap, each of them about 5 foot in diameter. No railing, just metal support holding the glass in place. There's like a little bit of a gap between each panel of glass, but not much. Enough for you to be able to step over pretty easily.
Okay, would now be a bad time for Berin to say that he has vertigo? I feel like it would be. I have no idea how we're supposed to get any of this done. This ooze is worrying me, though.
Yeah. Oozes, they have a nasty habit of, well,
Sliming.
yeah.
Been there.
Question. Sorry.
No.
I was just going to ask if Detect Magic is still on, or if we used up 10 minutes since that point.
It's 10 minutes has gone by since that point.
Okay.
But you still have the inspiration-y thingy I gave you. That one is not expired
Bardic
yet.
Inspiration.
Yeah, it's like a Bardic Inspiration, but it's the ghosty one.
Right. It only goes away after you use it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'll look it up again.
Okay.
Just remind me what it does as well, but you can put it in, like, chat or whatever. Okay. Well, I mean, if it's glass, then is it magic glass, or is it gonna break? Do we need to pick who the lightest person is?
Well, if it wasn't for the last room, I would say, of course. Why wouldn't it be magic glass? Or why would it be magic glass even? There's no reason for it to be. But also, I just got eaten by a mirror, so there's going to be something wrong with this glass.
So are we like in the room already? We've gone through the door.
I assume as much, yeah. This door doesn't close behind you like the glass room did.
Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
Is there a panel that's like close enough? You said that we can like step to them, right? So I'm gonna go over to just the closest one and try and just like I'll tap against it with my wand. Not like doing a spell or anything. I'm just gonna tap it to check.
You tap on it, it sounds like glass. You're close enough to see that it's probably about 3 inches thick.
Well, we could always tie her up around Silene and send her over. She's the lightest one, right?
Well, I mean, I wasn't thinking of Silene, but I was thinking about the usage of rope. So between the two of us, I think we might have something. We might have something going. I mean, is Silene the lightest of us?
Or maybe
I would assume so. She is both small and slender. Yes, but then we run the risk of breaking her.
Breaking Artemisia.
Yeah, in that way that, she's seems a little bit too frail for her body.
I mean, she was about to climb. Was it Artemisia that was about to climb up the walls?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's the one who offered to use spider climb and climb up the walls.
I mean, she offered to climb up the walls if she's not too worried about that. I mean, she has a rope around her. If we make sure the rope isn't, is short enough so that if she did fall, she didn't touch the ooze below.
Yeah, or snap in half, like actually, as in the
rope,
the weight and the rope, and then. No.
Have you ever tied someone to a rope by the middle?
Yes, I have tied people by the middle with ropes. I mean, the last time it was, they tripped over a cliff, and then by the time I hauled them up, their spine had snapped. But, that's what I'm worried about. Anyway, I feel like I'm complicating matters here. No, you're not supposed to nod your head. I'm supposed to be trying to, regain my I believe the kids say street cred with the group here. So it's a 60 foot gap, isn't it? So
how do we know how big the drop is?
It's a 40-foot gap. It's a 60-foot drop.
Right.
Well,
60
okay.
foot's not. Actually,
in the grand scheme of things, it's not falling off a cliff.
And it is a lot of slime.
Well,
the fall.
I was about to say, we don't know. They might have some marshmallow properties. I don't know. Okay. DM. This one is a question for you. How does one calculate one's throwing distance for animate objects?
Pretty sure it's D20 times strength modifier. I don't know.
D20 times.
Because that would be what maximum 20 if you remember. 80 feet. That doesn't sound right. Well, maybe that'd be an 80-foot throw at maximum if you have a +4. I guess it'd be a 100-foot throw if you had a +5. But yeah, sure, why not? Let's just do that.
So Tara, I'm just saying, we might be able to beat the bridge by its own game, we might be able to solve this by throwing somebody over there, because I've just checked in internally and I'm feeling very, very strong.
Okay.
I suppose I misunderstood your question. I didn't realize you were discussing throwing a person.
I thought saying an animate object would kind of get my point across.
Did you say animate or inanimate? Because I heard inanimate.
Animate?
Oh, then I misheard you entirely. I heard inanimate object. D20 times strength modifier divided by size category. I've just decided that. It's too much math. You roll a number and I'll tell you how far it can go.
So base roll was an 18, including strength modifier would be a 22.
Who are you throwing?
Preferably the smallest of the group.
Are you walking into the courtyard and grabbing
No,
Silene?
we're talking about it.
We're
he's
talking
not
about it. I'm
doing
not actually doing it.
We're
Oh, well,
discussing a plan.
Yeah.
In that case, don't roll dice yet, because dice checks are for when you're
He was
doing,
just
not when
asking
you.
you how far
I
he
was
could
asking
throw.
how.
This conversation
You
has
told
gone
him to roll.
way off out of project.
We could throw somebody over the bridge. Over
I think
the gap.
that's where that conversation ends, is we could,
Let's
or
keep
goes
that,
to.
wrap that round.
So Tara will say, okay, say that you managed to throw someone that distance. How do they get back?
See, this is where your idea of the rope comes in super handy. Because what we do, fling them over, have them tied to a rope, and then when they're ready to come back, we just kind of hoist them back. Or they can use the bridge, and if something untoward happens whilst using the bridge, then there's that safety line of them not getting caught. Or, wait, no, getting caught and saved.
Do you know what? I'm not entering into this conversation with you because I do not believe you could throw a person across there anyway. So,
Okay.
excellent suggestion, but let's go with something else. The walls, did you say that are all of the walls covered in slime?
Pretty much, yeah. Everything that's not in this little 10-foot platform that you're on.
Can I... Okay, so who have we got outside? I'm gonna stick my head out of the door and be like, right, which one of you knows how to recognize slimes and oozes?
Amelia will look up and say, I've got some experience with recognizing hazardous and non-hazardous things you'd come across in the wild. Slimes are kind of along that.
Could you please come and see if you can tell us any more information about the slimes in here? I'm wondering how dangerous it would be to touch and crawl through.
Sure. Yeah. Let me come take a look. So yeah, she goes in and is looking down the drop and looks up at the ceiling with the slime kind of stretched across it. And she says, yeah, what you've got there is something I think pretty corrosive, just from a look at it. We could give it a touch, see what happens, see how bad it goes.
I mean, it's probably not worth it. What's this glass look like to you? Or you just look like glass, or?
Gonna make her roll up investigation check. Boom, she got a number. I actually have to pull up her character sheet. Give me a second. It's not far away, but okay, investigation. Oh, she's not good at that. With a 7, because breaking the illusion of storytelling. Why not? She taps one of them with her foot, and she goes, I bear in mind she stands like a foot taller than you. No, more than that, you're short. Mm-hmm. She probably stands a foot taller than Berin. She says, I don't think I would step on that. None of that looks safe. That's all glass.
Well, I came unprepared for this. I prepared neither feather fall or fly. I don't think I can get fly yet, but it's not prepared.
Whether or not you have it, it is not prepared.
Silene in the courtyard.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish that she was over there right now, but I would like to point out to people who have forgotten, we do have Unseen Servant active right now.
This is
I
true.
mean, we have clearly forgotten, so it would probably be a case that Silene would need to.
Okay, Celine would
However,
need to
and-
be there. Okay.
But I mean, what is Silene doing? Because we've been doing this for a while.
Also,
Uh,
Celine's the only person who can control the unseen servant, so she's not there. She can't make it do stuff.
Right. No, it'd be a matter of someone telling Celine, hey, we've got a plan. It involves your unseen servant. But I'll basically what she was doing was looking at her tarot cards and trying to use them to like help her. Basically, she asked the cards what she's supposed to do. Didn't get a clear answer.
Side question: do you have augury as a spell?
No.
Because I figured
This
that
is
would
all
be
imaginary.
one. Okay. Well, this is all imaginary. We're playing a game.
I mean, yeah.
I figured that would be a really good spell for you to take for their card divination.
I don't think it was available to me. I'll find
that's
out. But anyway, yeah, like eventually she'll. Now that people are like clustered around the door and everything, she'll come over, and then actually say that she has an unseen servant still, and maybe we could just send that one across the bridge to collect whatever's on the other side.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead. I was looking at other NPC spells too.
And it weighs nothing, apparently.
Weighs less than a duck.
That's Tara's no ask. Okay, so I mean, would you know if it falls? If it fell and didn't die, would you know? If it's invisible?
I have no idea. I feel like I would be connected enough to it to know that something had happened to it.
Is it a concentration spell?
Let me look it up.
I don't know that it matters. I mean, for the sake of like ease of understanding, if you have a spell active and that spell ends as a spellcaster, you would be aware that it ended.
But would she know if it fell off of the? Well, I suppose we would probably see the glass break. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was gonna have Artemisia get involved in here and make the point of like, well, if the glass breaks, we'll know.
Okay.
Also, if it falls, it will die. It is 1 hit point.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it is our least fatal, least dangerous. Sorry, I will change words there. She did that. Actually said that. Option. So perhaps we start there. I presume it can pick up whatever's at the other end and try and carry it. My only question is, what do we do if it falls with the thing at the other end?
I will
That's
say,
a good point.
at the other end is another one of those pillars, like in the mirror room, with nothing on top of it.
Oh. Well, maybe it'll appear when it gets over there, unless it has. First things first, let's just try it. Maybe we'll at least see if the glass will break or something will happen when the glass is stepped on.
Okay.
Okay, I'll send the unseen servant across the bridge and look at what's on the other side, and if there's something to pick it up and return to us.
Okay. As it steps onto the first panel, Alex, I want you to roll a d6.
5.
All right. I also got a 5. So I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Me?
Yep.
Rude.
I know. I'm a turd.
Oh no. Oh wait. Oh, that's not a 1. It is still not great though. That's a 9.
All right. You both see, or you all see that the glass panel, very first glass panel, just shatters. And then you feel the spell dissipate.
Okay, well, how many more of those have you got in you?
Not many.
How many times can we sit here for 10 minutes for you to cast a ritual?
Oh yeah, it depends on whether I want to cast it as a ritual or just cast it.
All I gotta say is if you guys start spamming that, I'm gonna put in something that's gonna make this have to happen right away because
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. Hear me out. What if it wants us to walk on the glass so that we fall through, but actually there's some form of magical force on the bits that aren't covered in glass, which act as like a barrier to stop us from falling through?
Are you going to be the one that tests that theory?
Sure. Berin's going to walk up to the edge and then just kind of put his foot out and kind of feel around a bit to see if there's any resistance.
there is resistance from the barrier, like the metal that's kind of holding the glass in place. It's not very wide, but like the little metal. I don't know what to call them, supports. But yeah, there's resistance. It's solid.
I think were you putting it in the gaps though? Your foot in the gaps.
I was going to put my foot in the gaps, but the DM has given me a very much more the positive idea.
Oh, I misunderstood. My bad.
But I mean, is there any resistance in the gaps?
Like you're stepping to where between the glass panels.
Yeah.
As you step down, I want you to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Nuts.
God.
Oh, 19.
19. You feel a sense of vertigo as though you have nothing underneath your feet, but your foot does set down on something solid.
Huh.
I don't know what is making me feel more giddy, the fact of the vertigo or the fact that I might have been right on this one. There's resistance. There is resistance.
So then perhaps we tie a rope around a person, keep it taut while they step down and see if they can put their weight on that resistance, and then proceed to just shatter glass a bunch.
I'm gonna suggest we do it with the lightest person, just in case.
Berin backs up a bit. Yep, that sounds much better than me doing it.
Amelia and Captain Borstad kind of look at each other, look at Baron. And they're just like, Baron just goes, "Well, I guess I'm out."
Borstat.
Borstad, my bad. Take a shot there, everyone.
Yes. Okay. Obviously, it's going to be me.
And then Spectre comes bounding into the room.
I was gonna suggest the dog. I was like, that feels really mean.
How did I forget about Spectre?
I was genuinely gonna suggest it.
Spectre jumps at Amelia and she picks him up, and he like nibs at her at the collar of her shirt.
Is the dog going to be okay with walking on something completely invisible?
That's a good question. Will it understand the...
Are you all saying this out loud?
I think so. I suppose no one
yeah.
has suggested it.
No one has suggested it. That's true.
In front of Amelia,
We
this is
all
true.
just looked at each other and kind of understood what happened.
I think we're coming together as a team.
Sacrifice the dog? That's a terrible thing to come together over.
Well, the question is, because obviously Spectre is a drake, does he have wings, i.e. could he fly?
He does not have wings.
Ah,
He is pretty much a lizard dog.
yeah. But, okay, Baron's going to take the hit because he's big. Amelia.
She looks at you as while patting Spectre underneath the chin.
What say you about, popping a leash on Spectre and telling him to fetch?
She looks at Spectre, squints her eyes, looks at you, and says, "Telling him to fetch what?"
Whatever is on the other side of this bridge.
She puts Spectre down, stands up, tall, back straight, and steps towards you. And again, like I said, she probably stands about a foot taller than you. She steps up and she looks down at you and she says, "Are you offering to sacrifice my companion to help get across that bridge safely?"
No. I'm suggesting that we use your companion to test the safe ways for us to cross the bridge. I'm not saying that we actually let Spectre fall into the slime. There are ways to mitigate that loss.
She punches you fairly harmlessly in the chest, but it's enough for you to kind of get a sense of her disapproval. And she says, "I don't think Spectre's talents are best used in these ways. But you know what? If a decision needs to be made, I may not be the smallest among us, but I will try to go. As long as you are all sure that you could pull me up if I fall."
No, that's a terrible idea. No offense, but you would be better on this end of the rope, I think.
I agree, but if the choice is between me and Spectre, I'll take the...
Well,
I already
I'll take
said
a
I
walk.
would do it.
Okay, then
Celine,
maybe we stop talking about my Drake as though it's expendable.
I'm just expendable.
stop
It's fine.
talking about Silene.
Celine takes off her musical instruments and sets them down at the outside the door. Actually, on the inside of the door, on whatever platform they're on. Go on.
Ah, nuts!
Okay.
Okay, Silene, I know it's very rude, but by any chance, you are under £10, aren't you?
£10.
In weight.
Oh,
In weight, of course. I'm not asking if you're purchasable.
Oh, jeez.
no to either of those questions.
Tara just frowns at Berin. Like, how is this helping?
Because I thought of something and it's no use to anyone, and
Even the dog's not £10. Probably.
I don't understand Imperial, okay? It is Imperial, right? Or is that metric?
I don't understand all of it.
I don't
understand
understand
what you're
that,
saying.
okay? Give me pound. No, don't give me pounds. Give me grams and kilograms and we're fine. You start throwing currency in there and I start questioning life.
Is this in character or is this Matt?
Yes.
This is in character.
Okay. I'm starting to get a bit like, wait, does Matt not know how many £10 is?
Also, side
go with
note,
both.
I also have no idea how much £10 weighs, but that's fine.
Okay, £10 is
It weighs
like...
10 pounds.
Well, there's 14...
Well, I know how
My
much
cat.
a note.
There's 14
My cat
pounds
is
in a
heavier
stone,
than 10 pounds.
So...
I love how you're quantifying this by using the same system.
No, but like, okay.
I don't know how much a stone weighs.
It's
14
like...
pounds. She just said it.
So it's about 2
This is
kilograms,
10 pounds.
right?
This right here is 10 pounds.
Okay, so about 3 kilograms. That's fine.
Not a person, basically.
That's
Tara's just going to start getting the rope out. She's shaking her head at this whole conversation. And she's going to just completely ignores everything Berin is saying. And goes and stands in front of Silene and just kind of like, she first of all has her hands on the rope and then she like just look up kind of through her hair and through her eyelashes at Silene, like, kind of expecting her to sort of raise her arms.
I hope you are good at tying knots.
She will gets in quite close for this and like wraps one arm around the back of Selene and pulls her up around and starts like tying the knot very like stood very close to each other. There's kind of like you could almost like feel each other's breath on their faces, and then she will tie it and then look up at Selene, and there's like a tiny flash of a smile, and she just says, "Me too."
Selene has been trying very hard to be a mature adult, but she is bright red by the time they're done.
There is a little bit of redness in Tara's face too. She steps back and then starts unfurling the rope and starts handing it to people. But she will say to Amelia, "Could you just check? You want to just check the knot for me?"
Absolutely. Will you roll me a survival check?
Me?
Mhm.
Okay. But she's gonna roll to check. Is okay, right?
Well, yeah, she's gonna roll to check it, but you got to roll to see how you did.
That would be a 9. Probably a good
All right.
job she checked.
So you had tied the rope around Celine's waist, and then the knot was good and all. Amelia's looking it over, and then she takes the rope and she slings it over Amelia or Celine's shoulder, and then like tucks it into the back of the belt around her waist, and then over the other shoulder, and kind of like does like a harness over the shoulders as well, and then ties it off and says, "Well, we'll have a little less rope to work with, but at least she'll be a little more secure."
Good.
I swear to God, I had something else to say. Oh, Artemisia will also walk up to Silene, and she'll say, "Well, it looks like I'm trying to save your ass a second time." And as she says that, I need to pull open notes because I want to see the spell components for this particular spell.
While you're doing that, I just kind of realized that I was wrong about something. Selene does not blush. She does cover her face with her hands though for a moment, but she actually has the exact same pristine makeup as before.
Mm-hmm.
She's still visibly like flustered, just not blushing.
Artemisia pulls out like a thin piece of string and like ties it into a cat's cradle, and then holds it over your hands. And as she does, you feel your hands start to get a little bit sticky. And she says, "If you fall, get to the wall as quickly as possible. You should be able to climb back up." She has just cast Spider Climb on you. So you currently have a climb speed of, I think it's just your normal movement speed. Yep, equal to your walking speed.
I think if Selene weren't feeling quite so just like generally nervous and weird, she would be like, "I'm gonna go just climb things now."
Spider climb, spider climb. You do have this for the next hour, so there might be chances to just do it when you're not hanging over
Dead.
stuff. Yep. Okay. So Borstad ties the rope around his waist, wraps it around his one arm. Amelia grabs hold of it as well. Visik is still wandering the courtyard.
Okay. Helpful as that.
What are the two of you doing?
Tara will take. She would want to be the one that takes the front, but realistically, it should probably be another stronger person. So she should probably tell Berin to take the front position, and she'll go just behind him.
Whatever you say, boss.
Right. So you've got 4 people holding onto this rope, and Selene tied in. What are we gonna do?
Selene will breathe and step down through the empty space where the glass is.
All right. As you step down, I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
This wisdom stuff. Don't approve. 12.
Okay. You step down, and immediately you feel the world below you give way. And you begin to fall. You fall. Oh, good.
I was going to say, I guess she's facing the wrong way. She could try and like grab onto something with her sticky hands.
You fall face first and feel yourself for a moment hit something solid, and then you feel as though you are floating in midair. You are laying on your stomach, looking down at the pool of acid. It does not seem to have gotten any closer. The rest of you watch as Silene takes a step and then just falls flat on her face in the middle of this bridge. But she is just laying right there.
Does it look like I'm on top of the bridge to everyone else, or does it look like I'm under the bridge?
It looks like you are on top of the bridge.
Okay.
Baron's going to shout, Silene, everything okay?
It's the strangest thing. It feels like falling, but obviously not.
That's how I felt when I put one foot on it, so I have no idea how bad it must feel when you've got full body.
I feel like she's saying this as she's like, her face is mashed into the... She will try to not push herself all the way off of it, but a little bit to see if the vertigo comes back.
The vertigo is still kind of there, but you're able to push yourself back onto your feet. And you're now kind of standing between the broken panel and the non-broken panel on that little gap.
Okay. Well, I can keep moving forward. At a certain point, the length of the rope is going to no longer be able to safely catch me.
60-foot drop, 50-foot rope. 40-foot
And
gap.
Oh,
So
I think
okay. We should be okay.
between the amount of rope that's being used to hold on to it and the amount of rope that's
The
wrapped
drop
around
is longer.
you, you've probably got a 40-foot use of this rope along a 50, and that gap is 40 feet. So by the time you get to the other end, they just have to let go of it. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Silene looks back at everyone. I keep moving forward.
Okay. Take step number 2, and again, roll a wisdom saving throw.
take big steps.
It's just gonna be nothing but whoop-bump, whoop-bump, whoop-bump.
It may well be.
No, it is literally going to be that I did not roll well again. That would be an 8.
Once again, you fall flat on your face. Same sensation, like you are falling. Same sensation for a moment. You feel like you hit something sturdy, and then you are there in this middle thing. I would like Berin to roll a perception check, since you are the closest person.
Okay, I mean, makes sense. I'm not the most perceptive. I could be more perceptive. Not by much, though, at 19.
You notice, as soon as she falls flat, there's something wrong about the way that she is falling. Like bits of excess rope, some of her clothing, whatever. Something should be dangling over the edge of this bridge, but it's not. Everything is landing flat and even.
Okay. So everything's laying flat and even. So would that indicate that potentially this imaginary safety net is wider than the bridge? Or that this imaginary safety net is some pure magic bewitchery?
It's a good question. I refuse to give you the specifics, but I'll let you draw your own conclusions based on what you've rolled.
Can I roll an Arcana check?
I'm going to say no. The specific magicry that you would need to see here would require the ability to see magic, and
I
that magic
can't.
was not cast again.
So,
Someone suggests.
retcon.
If you relay what you've seen, yeah.
Yeah, it's Berin. I jumped to the conclusion that this is magical bewitchery. It's as simple as that. It's not as if there's some incredibly thin piece of glass, because, well, we already know where the glass is and it's not stable. So Berin's going to relay this to everybody else and Silene in the attempt to try and kind of be like, yeah, we see what's happening. It's, there's some weird shenanigans going on. I really want to call Silene out right now. And and Baron's going to go, okay, I know that there's at least one wizard back there. Do you want to come up and take a look and see what you think? And hopefully we might be able to stop Silene from falling on her face again.
Well, if Baron has relayed that it looks like the drop doesn't end on the other side of the thing, Silene, while still face down on the thing, with her face still like in the glass, is going to just like pick up one hand and put it over on like the other side of the because the bridge is narrow enough that she can do that, right?
Yeah, it's only like it's 5-foot panels on either side, but you could reach over. You're looking to reach over.
Yeah, so basically she's just
panels. So yeah, you just reaching over, and like I'm gonna make the assumption you're not really looking. You're just like, this is where it is. There's no edge. There's no down. You just keep moving yourself along a flat surface.
And I presume that everyone else sees that.
Mm-hmm.
She'll just extend both sides and just like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as far as you can reach on either side, the floor is flat. Also, now that you're becoming aware of it, and I'll just kind of give you this one without you making a check, it doesn't even feel like you're laying on glass. It's not slick and smooth.
When I took the next step, did the next glass break?
No, because you were stepping on the barrier in between.
Oh, I see.
At least that was what I was led to believe. If you were stepping on a glass panel,
I didn't have a strong image in my mind of what the bridge looked like, so whatever you think one step would put me onto.
Based on the previous conversations, I assumed that what Baron was saying is he had detected that in the barrier between the glass panels was like a kind of a safe-ish space, and that's what you were to be edging along.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well,
but it doesn't feel like glass.
I mean, I could cast Detect Magic again if you think it's going to be useful, or if you think we've got this down. Then just go.
I will give Tara a chance to do a Detect Magic, or an Arcana rather, to see if
it's worth it.
Piece it together, essentially.
I could wait there 10 minutes. I'll do it as a ritual.
Oh, I was saying Arcana check. This is a situation of just like utilizing your knowledge of magic.
Yeah, no, I know. Just saying.
Oh, okay.
Silene can lay face down for 10 minutes.
Silene will turn her head enough to say, I can just keep falling. I don't need dignity.
As an 18 on the Arcana.
Yeah, I think that this is one of those moments where, like, I'm going to give Tara information that her character would piece together because it makes sense. She's smart. She knows magic. Based on the information put together between Silene and Baron's observations, it's very likely this is some kind of illusion.
Okay, but it is still making her feel vertigo, so.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, Tara will say, it's probably fine. Like, the spots around where the glass are, because your servant fell, maybe they're like gaps in it, but there's a good chance that you could maybe even just go around that and keep going. I mean, If you've got spider climb on, maybe you can just sort of drag yourself along and then you don't keep falling.
She was considering it. Okay. She's going to not push herself all the way up to full standing, but she is going to say, I'm going to try putting my weight outside of the bridge.
Mhm.
So if I fall, please catch me.
Are you still like you're still crouched down? You're just trying to shift your weight towards.
Yeah, she's basically like she's gonna kind of just like
Mhm.
crawl over essentially.
Yeah, give me a wisdom check. But you can have advantage on that because of the information you've gathered so far. And then this will probably be the last one I make you make.
I'm gonna retire these dice. That would be a 13.
Okay. Well, it turns out the DC is 13. So, yeah, you reach over off the bridge. You know, you kind of crawl over to that spot, and it's all just flat surface. And you're pretty sure that this is stone your hands are resting on. Not unlike the your platform you were on before that led to this place. So at that point, I think your brain has figured out the illusion of this, and I'm not going to make you make saving throws to cross any longer, because even though you have that sense of vertigo, you know now what's going on enough to make an informed decision.
Okay. Then Silene will just keep walking forward.
You cross to the other end of the glass bridge in the slime, and as you do, a amulet appears on the post at the end with a square piece of stone or a rectangular piece of stone attached to it, or as it's the amulet, all that.
Okay.
And you look back, and the bridge is still there. The acid is all still there. Your friends have to let go of the rope though, because you don't have enough space while tied in to like walk over and grab the amulet.
Okay. So coming back, I will not have a safety net.
Right.
Okay. Well, I guess. So the rope is not long enough to.
Yeah, you're at the end of the rope right now. I'm not going to say everyone is let go, but you are at the end of the rope, and you don't have enough reach to grab the amulet. It's still like it's at the far end, so it's about 10 feet away from where you're currently standing.
Okay. Before I tell them to let go, can I do an investigation check on the thing holding the amulet? See if there's anything that looks trappy.
Sure. It'll have to be a perception check, because if they're not letting go, you can only look. Away. Yeah.
Right. That's fine. That is also a 13.
Okay. From what you can gather, it just looks like a post in the ground. Doesn't even seem like it would rise or fall like the one in the mirror room.
Okay. Then Silene looks back at the others. Moment of truth. Oh.
Is that the signal for everyone to let go?
I feel like she feels like it's implied.
Okay. Yeah, so Amelia, Borstad, they let go.
Yeah, I mean, Baron's the one at the front. He'll be the last to...
Baron's resisting the urge to hold on and just kind of mutters under his breath, for God's sake, see, they'll kill me if this is how she goes, and just drops the rope.
The rope drops, and the way that it's kind of lined up, it should fall into the chasm. It just lays flat across the whole thing.
Okay. Selene will approach the thing, not like touch it yet, but now I would like to do an investigation.
Okay. Investigating. I'm not even gonna make you roll. Investigating. Pretty much, there is enough of a like you can kind of see enough of a gap around the base of the pole that the pole could slide down or slide up. I don't know if you want to get hands on to like see if you can move it yourself. But aside from that, there is nothing around that seems as though it'll trigger a trap. Like the bricks, it's not like bricks on the floor. It's one solid slab of stone. There doesn't look like there are any openings in the wall that are going to unleash any traps or anything like that.
But the pedestal itself looks like it is meant to raise and lower in the floor.
Yeah.
Well, she might describe what she's seeing to the rest of the group, just to see if anyone's experienced enough to think that that might be of concern. She doesn't know. She hasn't experienced any of this before.
Borstad just goes, the guy I know who know the answer to that question is lying in the other room.
Should have rolled some guidance on myself.
Hmm.
Okay, then I'm going to just reach over and pick up the pendant.
As you pick up the pendant, the pole that it's on begins to slide down about 2 inches. And as it does, the whole room, like starting with the slime on the top of the walls, begins to just dissipate. The chasm along the sides begins to just turn to stone. The bridge, the bottom, everything just disappears. And in a minute, you are in a 60 foot by 60 foot room made of just one solid bit of stone. It's just that pole and the rest of the party on the other end. There is nothing else in here.
Okay. Then we're crossing back over.
Yep. You cross back over. That.
Wow. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah. Nope. No shoes to drop. I have made you all appropriately paranoid. So the singular room that was just an illusion became
very scary.
Yeah, something to work across.
Okay, then I guess I presume we exit the room. If there is nothing else of interest in there now that everything's just turned into stone.
Yeah, once the illusion dissipates, Borstad is just looking at the room. Amelia, all of them just kind of like that was all.
Okay, well,
All
I'll take it. I can work with that. And then she, once the rope is off of her and everything, she's like fixing her hair and herself because, she just had a bunch of undignified experiences.
As you all make your way into the courtyard, Visik is standing expectantly by the statues and says, "So, no one died?"
Nope.
Not this time.
That's good, I suppose.
Well, 2 down, 1 to go.
Okay. Then I guess we go to the room with the ball bearings.
Just open the door with the rusted ball bearing on it. It is a 20-foot wide corridor, about 100 feet long. There are patterned holes in the walls that are about 2 feet in diameter or 2 inches in diameter. And then there are bricks along the floor that very clearly have no grout in between them. Yeah.
Basically, it looks like a trap.
It looks like a trap. Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe there's a saying, if it looks like a trap and smells like a trap, it's probably a duck.
That's what I was gonna say.
And if it weighs as much of a duck as a duck, it's probably a witch. So
No, if it weighs more than a duck, it's a witch.
So,
it
I'm
weighs more than a
hearing,
duck, it's a human, because then it drowns.
Oh yeah.
I'm hearing duck, but I'm spitballing here, guys. Drake.
I mean,
Drake, goose.
Did you say that out loud?
Yep.
didn't that suggestion go down quite badly last time?
It
However,
sure did.
this and can I just point out, Amelia, that it was a room all along. It was just an illusion. So
I'm going to give you a persuasion roll.
is that to persuade for my life? I feel like it is at this point.
I'm going to
With
let
my
you roll a
-1.
persuasion checks when you
So that-
bring up the Drake.
That was a 3.
What's your AC?
Yeah.
18. No, that's... Wait, yes, 18. I feel like Ellie.
That's actually okay. Well, you're wearing armor, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she walks up and she punches you in the breastplate hard. Like you hear the knuckles ring against the metal. She does the handshake, and she just sort of snarls, "You're lucky I didn't go for your jaw."
Well, I'm glad that you can still take a joke. But yes, this very much looks like a trap. Any ideas what we can do here?
And we can start by not triggering it, probably, and not using my Drake. I've already lost one friend today. I don't plan to lose another.
Read the room, dude. Read the room.
Oh god.
No, not anyone beginning with S, but Berin is going to take a look at the walls, at these kind of like little holes that are kicking about. Actually, no, he wouldn't notice that because he would just see little holes. Oh, sorry, brain is just catching up with my thoughts there. Why don't we trigger it, and then the trap is done, and we can just get into the room.
Okay. Let's put a pause on that for a moment. Question. Did my spider climb hand stick to my face? I don't know. Did it? Actually, I mean, if she
Maybe
face
it did,
bombs,
and she was like, "Wait, now I remember
Wait.
this."
As she's attempting to get her hand off of her face, how about I bypass these look obviously like pressure plates to me, these bricks. What if I use these to go over them?
We'll look up at the ceiling and see all the tops of the walls or something to see what it looks like.
Will you roll me a perception check?
15.
Okay. It's not as obvious as the floor, but it looks like some of the bricks along the ceiling also have, I wouldn't say no grout at all. They need something to hold them in place, but definitely have less than others, as though there are some up there that could also be pressure plates.
Well, I mean, it looks very similar to the floor, but I mean, if we get over there quick and easy, the problem is we don't know what's coming out of those holes. If it's just projectiles, we might be okay. Maybe. But if it's not...
What if it's snakes?
Probably be alright if it was snakes, honestly. They would fall. I'm more worried about, like, gas.
Bees.
Or bees.
Bees. Oh
Bees would
god.
be bad.
Okay, additional thought. I'm not particularly interested in putting myself at risk here, but the walls themselves that have the openings don't have pressure plates. It seems risky to attempt to climb across all of those openings, but maybe it's actually the safest option. I don't know a way to test it without just...
Could...
These hands are kind of important to me.
Is that...
She then winces and says, and doesn't look at Borstad.
Okay, how about we attempt to, like Berin said, try to trigger one to see what happens. I mean, the likelihood of once it's triggered, it continuously goes off. I feel like it's slim.
Borstad says, you gave me an idea. I could possibly give you a hand here. And he reaches his arm out to Amelia.
A literal hand.
Looks at him strange. The arm. And she kind of like ruffles through her bag and pulls out his arm. It's all like wrapped up in cloth and hands it to him. He like positions his hand with one finger sticking out and then like goes and pokes his finger from his severed arm into one of the holes.
Not where I was going with this, but okay.
I'm just testing it, seeing if anything comes out.
Does it?
Nothing comes out, I presume.
Nothing comes out.
Well, I think we either need to risk trying to press one of the pressure plates to see what is actually in these walls, or Silene's just gonna have to go for it.
I have 3 bags. They're out in the cart yard still. One of them's just full of candles. It's literally just full of candles.
Okay.
Could just throw it onto the pressure plates.
See, my worry about that is I don't want to leave something on there, because once it's on there and we can't get it off, it might stay continuously triggering it. So I would like to try just press it once and unpress it.
How close to we? Goodness gracious. How close are we to the sort of the door and the pressure plate?
Oh, the pressure plates start like just inside the door.
Mm-hmm. So we're pretty close up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so guys.
That's why Borstad had to like use his arm to get the.
Okay, guys, why don't we back up and then try and figure out how we can apply some pressure to this thingamajig, this plate.
Well, we could tie one of the bags to the end of the ropes, or as long as we can get the bag back. I just don't want to leave something on there. So tie a rope to a bag, throw the bag, see what happens, pull the bag back, send Silene in.
Fair enough. I never thought she'd be this handy.
So far, she's been the most useful
Sorry, Borstad.
object we've got with us, right?
Apart from Borstad's hand, that has come in very helpful.
Look, this is
Well, you said handy, not handsy, so I'm not offended.
Tara's going to just march over to one of the bags and pull it over. She'll, like, give it a cursory sort of, like, jiggle to see if it sounds like candles. Seeing as though that's the one she...
Oh, it did smell like candles.
I just imagine a bag, just you shake it, Does this sound like
Well,
candles
it
to
has
you?
that like, but candles. You have that like hollow wax like clicking.
Yeah.
Oh
together
yeah, you'd be able to
sound.
tell.
Like, yeah,
Uh, yeah, I
they're all
mean,
gonna
if you
be
if you grab a bag that's not candles, you shake it. It doesn't sound like candles. It meows at you. You set it down. You grab another bag, shake it. That sounds like candles.
I don't have cats in my bags.
I'll pull the bag over, and hand it to Amelia to tie an end of the rope to it.
She ties the end of the rope and says, "Your knots were good. Held out just fine."
Because it was unnecessary.
I
Look,
mean, we didn't know that at the time.
let's just go on with this. This is taking so long.
All right. Are you gonna throw the bag?
I will. I'll give it to Berin. Seemed to be confident he had a good throw on him. So I'll say, well, you wanted to throw something earlier, now's your chance. Don't throw it too far in just in case something severs the rope. Maybe just in the entrance and then pull it back.
Yeah, no worries. Baron's just gonna like heft it up and just get ready for a good kind of shot put style warmth throw, and he's just gonna kind of hoof it in there.
How far do you want to throw it?
So I want to throw it roughly kind of in the same area as Borstad's hand was kind of poking, just
Okay.
a little bit in, not too far.
So maybe
Hopefully
like
hitting one of those grouts, maybe
maybe like
10 feet in, if that.
okay. Yeah, that's gonna be like, probably 3 bricks deep, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna make you roll for that because that's only like probably 6 feet. Um, you launch it in there. Roll me a d10.
I wasn't expecting that.
I don't know why you weren't. I did tell you I was gonna make you guys roll d10s
I know,
during the
but
break.
well, that would indicate that I was listening.
Oh,
It's a different
wow.
kettle of fish. That's on you. So that was a 10.
Okay. Your bag lands and you hear the sound of metal on like grinding against something, and this sound happens, and then there is the sound of blunk, blunk, blunk as a ball bearing rolls out of one of the holes, hits the stone, bounces along the stone, and then ends up coming to a rest in the crevices between a few of them. And then about a second later, another ball bearing comes out the same hole and rolls to a stop, and then a third, and then a fourth. And every second that bag is on that stone, a ball bearing comes rolling out of one of the holes.
Only rolling?
Only rolling. It just comes out like it's, maybe jots about a foot from the hole that it's coming out of, and then kind of comes to a drop and rolls along. They're not even heavy enough to trigger another one of the stones. You would notice if you leave it on there too long, that after enough ball bearings come in to like rest in the cracks, they begin to like roll off each other and like set on the stones, and the stones do start to lower just a little bit.
Probably
So
pull
if
the bag
enough
back.
ball bearings fell onto a stone, in theory, it would trigger it.
Pull the bag back.
Okay, and
Okay. Do you like try to yank the bag up off pole, or are you dragging it towards you?
so it would be a drag.
Okay, so roll me a d10 again, because you're dragging it along more stones.
Right. Oh, that's not good. That's a 1.
Okay. The first stone you drag it across, same thing. It like opens long enough for one ball bearing to roll out, and then that stops. Roll me another d10.
I'm doing well. That's another 1.
Okay. And then again, same thing. You've released probably about 7 ball bearings at this point. 5 of them out of the same hole, 2 out of just those little holes as you drag the bag across. But yeah, they all just kind of come rolling out of a hole, different holes for each stone that's triggered, and they just come to a stop and just sit there on the floor.
Wow, this feels too easy.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that
Very
it's
confused.
just very old traps. Well, I mean, I've no other real suggestions other than one, just making a break for it, or two, doing Celine's idea. We could do the rope idea again if you want, but I feel like dragging you across all of those stones is gonna be just as,
No, yeah. The only thing I could think of is if I somehow got trapped in there and you needed to pull me out, but
It doesn't hurt to do
It's-
it, but as long as it doesn't get in your way.
I don't know. Sure, just in how long is the hallway?
100 feet across.
No.
100 feet, okay.
Yeah,
Never mind.
that's not good. There's no point. I'll just take a risk, I guess. She's going to do a little bit of guidance on herself. So basically calling on the spirits just a little bit to help me in
Okay.
the future.
All right. So what's your plan?
She's going to curl up the wall.
Okay.
I think she's going to first try and see if she can just crawl across the wall, the side wall with all the holes in it.
Mhm.
If for some reason that's not feasible, then she would try to go across the ceiling and just look for try to avoid pressure plates, basically. But
You are able to spider climb across the side wall with all the holes in it.
uh-huh.
There is no adverse effect. There's no sort of pressure plates. The holes are all roughly about like a couple inches apart. What did we lose Matt to?
What
know.
happened?
I feel like Matt has suddenly
Disappeared into the
Don't wanna-
Matrix?
Yeah.
Hi everybody.
Matt has become code.
That's code now.
Oh.
Say hello to what happens when I update my scoop buckets, but hi.
Okay, all right. That was a bit
So
of a
anyway.
switch. Let's get back into it. Yeah, you're able to climb across the wall, no problem. The far right of the room is another one of those pillars. Around it still are all these pressure plates.
Mhm.
And you can't get to a place where you can reach from the wall or from the ceiling to the top of the post of the pillar without it's not possible to reach that far.
Okay.
But you could probably get there by only triggering one or two pressure plates if you're very careful.
Okay. Okay. Then I will try to be as quick as possible.
Okay.
And as light on her feet as a trained dancer can be.
All right. Will you roll me a perception check real quick?
Okay. That would be I'm gonna pop my guidance in there.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. What is it with all these 13s? Another 13.
Okay. And this is the guidance. This isn't a bardic inspiration thing. This is ghosts. You ghosts.
It technically it's the guiding whispers thing, which is part of the College of Spirits.
As you're like assessing the situation and realizing how close you are, and how you're gonna have to actually like kind of step down, you notice that you're not the only person in this room. There is someone leaning up against the back wall, and and he is the green dragonborn. He's expecting the back of his nails, kind of looking at his hand, and he goes, "Psst, hey, did you see this?" With his other hand, he taps on a single hole on the back wall, also the same 2-inch diameter, and it is like level with the top of the post. He goes, "Notice the post in the other rooms moved too."
Hmm. Right. So Silene just kind of freezes for a moment because, I mean, I'm assuming that's Matthias.
Mhm.
Yeah. So she's just having a moment. And she I don't know what that I don't know how to I don't know what to do with that information. She's saying this out loud. I don't think anyone can hear her though, because it's like 100 feet away, right?
Yeah, and Matthias is gone already. He
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah. I don't know what to. Yeah, I can. Can I roll a my character is smarter than me check?
Yes, you may. We want to roll just an intelligence check or a skill
Sure.
specifically?
Intelligence, maybe.
Okay. I'm also going to pull up your stat block.
Or maybe no, investigation requires being up close and personal, right?
Yeah, it requires investigation is hands-on, and perception is observing.
Yeah. Then yeah, we'll just do a straight up intelligence.
Okay.
Okay. These dice, I tell you what. That's a 14.
Okay. So the top of the post is still empty, and you remember that.
I'm so sorry. I got a call on my phone and it goes straight into my headphones, and
Oh,
so I heard
jeez.
nothing that you said.
The top of the post is still empty, and just like it was in the bridge room, in order for that image, the thing, like essentially the illusion that makes the thing invisible, in order for that to go away, you had to step to the side of the bridge, kind of showing
Right,
that you had completed the challenge.
Mhm.
So that seems to be the same case here, where you have to do something to show that you've completed this challenge in order to get
Right.
the thing to appear. But yeah, it seems
Okay.
like they're in a situation where you kind of can't avoid triggering something because you have to have feet on the ground near the pole.
Right. Okay. Then she'll drop from the wall onto the whatever looks like the most efficient pressure plate to step on and back off again, and attempt to reach for the pendant and go back onto the wall as quickly as possible.
All right, roll me a d10.
Really? That's a 1 also.
All right, you leap from the wall, land just in front of the pole, just like able to get both of your feet onto one of the squares. You feel it kind of sink under your weight. You hear that metal sound. You start to see the ball bearings roll out of one of the holes. And as you reach for the post, nothing appears on top. But then the post begins to move down. And after it moves down a few inches, something is launched out of that singular hole on the other end of the or on this wall that Matthias had pointed out to you.
Mm-hmm.
It zings all the way down the 100-foot corridor. And I would like everyone in the courtyard room to go ahead and roll a dexterity saving throw.
Mine is 13. If it is a fail, I'm going to use one of my charges, so you need to let me know.
It's not.
All right.
But I'm imagining a 6 is.
No.
It is also not. Because what you were rolling is who gets the lowest dexterity saving throw. And that roll went to Amelia, who got a 5.
It's close.
It was pretty close. And I think that she has a better dexterity bonus, but she also rolled a 3. Is that right? No,
Only you know.
that's not right. Artemisia is the one who rolled lower. Because Amelia's got a higher dexterity saving throw. I was looking at Artemisia's character sheet. She has a +2, not a +4. So, yeah. Artemisia lets out a scream of pain as whatever launched from that hole hits her square in the chest. And as she grabs on to a chain that's kind of dangling out of her chest, she yanks it free, and at the end is a round pendant. And from where you are standing currently, Silene, there are still ball bearings rolling into the room from the pressure point you're standing on. But aside from the thing shooting out of that singular hole, there is no amulet on the pole.
Right. And obviously Silene can't see that what it was that hit them on the other end. I presume. I don't really know what.
Sorry, you're seeing cattail in Matt's face.
Yeah, the usual. Silene will attempt to yell across 100 feet what just happened. I don't know how sound carries how many feet it takes.
I don't think it's that hard to yell across 100 feet, personally.
Yeah. Okay. Then if she gets no response, then I guess she'll say there's nothing here and start spider crawling back toward the doorway.
Yeah, if nobody else responds after a minute, Artemisia would, or after a few seconds, Artemisia would shout, "We have the pendant!" But she sounds like she's in pain.
Okay, turn and have a look at her and check she's okay.
So it hit her like square in the chest, and it's a good impact spot. It doesn't seem like it went through her or anything like that. It's not like this shot's gonna kill her, but you do see what looks to be some kind of like pussy substance in the wound that is like absorbing into her flesh.
That's not good.
The person with healing is still crawling across the walls.
Does Berin sees this as well, right?
Right.
Yeah. Tara, earlier you used your wand to make fire. Does it actually make fire, or does it just kind of emit light?
I mean, that wasn't fire, but I can make fire.
Well, that's even better. It's an older. You were in the army, you know. Fire, wound. Psst,
Yeah, but it's the pus I'm
saves
worried about.
lives.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
but if
look-
we do that, it kills the pus.
I mean, it's worth a shot, but I feel like we need some sort of remove disease situation here. But okay, I will cast Create Bonfire just in the middle of the courtyard.
Okay.
It's a cantrip, but just
Yeah,
Do
just
it.
cantrip. How are you gonna like get the fire to her? Because create bonfire doesn't it just create it? in
I
the
don't
5
know.
foot square?
That was Baron's plan. He just wanted the fire. I create the fire, and then I just look at Baron like, do your thing.
You know, sometimes I feel like you're deliberately trying to antagonize me, and I am not impressed. I am not impressed at all. Great. Okay, we need to get. Is there any branches or anything like that kicking about the courtyard that I could just quickly grab and set
Oh, yeah, I
alight?
mean, it's
Yeah.
overgrown. You can grab something that's probably dry and easy to burn.
You have a bag full of broken candles.
You have a bag full of broken candles.
Yes, but I feel like that would be rather mean just to start lobbing candles at Artemisia and just kind of like hoping.
What, you just gonna
Well,
throw
would
burning
that-
sticks at her? What?
Would that make you a
I
candelabra?
assumed you would just like light the candle and hold it up to the.
Tara's just gonna turn and like shout down the corridor that Silene, you should probably hurry up.
Trying to climb faster.
Right, okay, fine. You don't trust me? That is absolutely fine. Baron's just going to stop what he's doing and just wait for Silene to come to the rescue.
Okay. I presume that Silene eventually gets there and finds out what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you get there, and at this point, like Artemisia is sitting down on the fountain, the edge of the fountain, and she is just breathing heavy, holding the pendant in one hand and like the injury in the other. She's got like Amelia around her, who's also has healing ability too, but we're waiting for you since you seem to have more potent healing abilities. And the rest of you guys just kind of looking at what's going on. And she seems to be like kind of worn out.
Silene will quickly approach and look to Amelia and say, has healing been applied?
No.
No, we just sat her down, and then you got here. It's probably about the amount of time it would have taken you to get there. There's enough time to do what they did and then sit her down.
Okay. I can certainly try. She can do a cure wounds. I as player think that probably it's not going to do what we want it to do, but that's all she has. So cure wounds, just a first level 7.
Okay. You cast Cure Wounds, and you see the impact wound begin to close up, and as it does, Artemisia just screams, and you see that where the wound closes up, it's actually bulging out a bit, and it looks like a big cyst on her chest now. And after she screams, she's just breathing heavy, and she says, "That just makes it hurt all the more."
Should we cut it back open again? Try and drain it?
I don't know. Do something, or just. She holds out the pendant. Just do this. See what this does.
Okay. Then let's see. Silene has the rectangle pendant. Who has the mirror one?
I believe Amelia. I don't know who checked Matthias's body, but if it wasn't one of you player characters, it was her.
It wasn't. I don't think it was me. I think it must have been Amelia.
So yeah, Amelia has the mirror pendant, and
And
Artemisia has the barbell. Barbell. Barbell?
barbarian.
Barbarian?
Barbarian.
Fucking words, man. That one.
Okay. Then we needed to do something with these, right? Put them into the fountain. Maybe.
On the statues, there was a place for
Statues.
it.
Yeah. Then Silene will look at Amelia and look at and say, someone else take the round one and let's try this.
All right.
Okay.
Who's gonna take the round one?
I'll do it. Well,
Okay. So then Silene will take the rectangle to its appropriate spot. I don't know if we need to do this all together, but it seems like it would make sense.
might as well.
Okay.
So on 3?
Mhm.
Okay, and then put them in.
Amelia puts hers in its place, and after all 3 pendants are in their place, the bottom of the well begins to drop down, and as it does, it drops down into steps that spiral along the inside of the well and down and down and down. The murky water that was in the well just immediately falls into this hole, but now there's a spiraling staircase leading into darkness down from inside this well, or this fountain. I've been calling it a well a bunch, and I think that's like 4 shots, by the way.
All right. Okay.
Tara will cast light again from the tip of her wand, and kind of put her arm down into the hole just to kind of see if we can see any further down. But otherwise, who wants to go first?
Well, we lost the best person for that, I think. But
Visik looks down the well and says, or looks down the fountain and says, "It's a well, actually."
Well, it is now.
Well, it is now.
it's a well, actually.
I'll go down first.
Okay. I will go second then to keep the light. Visik, can you see in the dark?
Visik just laughs. His green eyes are kind of glowing faintly.
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Borstad picks up his sword from the grass where he dropped it a little while ago, and with the blood kind of coming out of the little scrapes from his mirror, rampage, he wipes the blood along the blade. It ignites in a flame again, and he holds it out to Berin and says, "Here, will you take this? I'm going to help the lady." And he goes and puts his arm around Artemisia and helps her to her feet.
Of course. I've always wanted a flaming sword.
Yeah, exactly. I knew that.
And Berin will kind of follow up Visik so that he doesn't particularly get annoyed by the bright light of the sword, and kind of holds it aloft, trying to illuminate.
Artemisia and Borstad are, it's kind of a narrow stairway, but they're making their way down side by side. He's got his arm around her waist, and he's helping guide her. And she seems to be moving fairly slowly. Yeah. And Amelia will either follow Silene or go before Silene, because it's up to the two of you as to who's going last.
I think Silene would like to be a little bit closer to the middle because she is a bit fragile. Uh, and so yeah, she'll
Okay.
she'll follow.
So we'll have it be Zik, Tara, Berin, Silene, Amelia, and Borstad, or Artemisia and a Borstad, and then Amelia.
Okay.
And then, of course, Spectre is going to come down too.
Obviously.
So as you are making your way down this spiraling staircase, it goes down for quite a ways, actually. And as you, at first, you just see kind of darkness stretching out from the direction, from as much of the light that's permitted by the sword, which is only about 20 feet. And then as you get closer to the bottom, you see these pillars rising up all the way to the ceiling. You can sort of see that they are just lined with books. And as you step to the bottom of the staircase, you are standing in a room where you can't make out the walls. Even if you have dark vision up to 60 feet, you can't see the far walls. But there are pillars with periodic like gaps in the pillar themselves, as though the inside, and the inside is completely hollow, and the outside is just an absolute bookshelf full of books. And then there are tables here and there with books stacked on them, some open, some with notes like stacked up around them. One thing you'll have noticed is that the water that's dripped down from the well as it came down, like it was dripping for a little bit, but after probably, a few rotations, it like that water evaporates before it gets too much further down.
That's
There is
a
not
relief.
there is not a speck of dust on anything. Yeah, and it's just you're in this vast library, essentially.
Selene says out loud, although to herself, Mother would love this.
Yeah. At this point, Artemisia says, "I need to sit down. I'm just exhausted."
I don't know if I have time to stop. Can someone just carry her?
If somebody else carries the sword, I'll be able to carry her, no problem.
No, yeah, sure. Borstad will hold out his hand, take the sword from you, because he's got one hand. He can't carry her.
There you go. Good for you. Yeah. And Berin is just going to pick up Artemisia and just kind of, I think it's fireman carry is the correct term. Just carry her, just kind of get comfortable. Right. Let's keep going then.
All right. So are you guys, I guess you really don't have any direction, so you're just going to pick one place and start walking in that direction?
Yeah,
Forward, I
I'm
guess.
assuming we're looking for more doors.
As you get close to a pillar of books, as though picking up sensory from a distance, a column rises in the center of the hollow pillar, and as it does, it kind of draws with it a bulb that illuminates with electric light. You can kind of hear this buzzing sound, and it's putting off light that's allowing the essentially like illuminating the bookshelf from the inside, so you can see all of the titles and everything on the books very clearly. And then as you go past it, the light kind of lowers, but every one of these columns has a light like this. And as you keep walking the way you're walking, you probably make it, I would say, just maybe 100 feet before you can see a wall. And on this wall is just this large open archway. And as you get closer to the archway, you see that it leads to a room with this massive, it's probably about 20 feet tall, obelisk shape rising up out of the floor. Is that the room you guys would like to go into, or do you want to explore more?
I did. if someone with good eyesight wants to poke their head in and just see if are any other doors leading out of the room, or if it's just a dead end. When I say good eyesight, I mean
Dark vision people.
Dark vision.
Does
anyone have dark?
Well, Visik has dark vision. That's a Dragonborn thing. I think that's a Dragonborn thing. Am I just like giving myself stats that I don't actually have? But for the sake of this argument, he does. Seeing that room, Visik will go, now this looks interesting. And he kind of goes jogging ahead towards the obelisk.
She's been trying. She's kind of been doing a lot of ignoring of this person because it's Visik. She doesn't want to talk to him. He's weird today, especially. Silene will shout, "Don't just go running into rooms, Visik."
He stops dead in his tracks and he turns to you with a serious look on his face and says, "Why not?"
Because they're probably traps.
So, we've already come across a few.
Well, you'll harm yourself and possibly all of us, so we should at least look at them. Try to see if there's a trap.
Are you seeking to avoid harm?
Yes, for everyone. I don't want anyone else to die.
Oh. All right. If that's... He kind of looks at the rest of the group and says, if that is what the rest of you are looking for, avoiding death, then I suppose we can go slower. Also, I think at this point, we're only like 20 feet away because he doesn't have dark vision.
Oh.
Okay.
What are you looking for? If it's not to avoid death. Yes. Well, we're all looking for a way out. We're just also trying not to die.
Death isn't all bad. There's always a place to go back to after.
Not precisely, but that's beside the point. Silene will try to just peer into the room without going into it. She does not have dark vision, but if someone brings a light over.
Borstad has his flaming sword. Puts off 20 feet of bright light and 20 feet of dim light. So you got like a 40-foot light radius.
Okay. Just trying to see if there's anything.
Like peering into the room itself?
Yeah.
So there is this obelisk, and looking at it closer, it's like carved and etched in a way that there's some kind of pattern on it, but it seems to be shifting and changing as the light touches it, and it's not black, but it's also not a color directly. Like it moves as you are looking at it, but along the walls are these metal plates that come down that are depicting figures. Most of them are Dragonborn in their appearance, but yeah, they're like metal engraved figures, and they also seem to be moving, but their pattern is like a repeating pattern, as though it's like a GIF or something. Like it's moving in a way that is constantly repeating. And yeah, you can. Nope, that's a long ways up. So now you don't get that description. You can't see a door inside this room if you're just looking from the perspective you're at, but the obelisk does take up a lot of, like, it's blocking a lot of the back wall.
Okay. Presuming that Visik is right there, Silene will turn to him and say, "What makes you think that this is a way out?"
He looks at the obelisk and he says, I don't. But that thing is something that shouldn't be here. That is a key of a sort, I think. And it's whispering to me.
Okay, let's move Visik away from this room. The idea of whispering big apparent keys that are not the keys we're looking for concerns me. I want to get out of this place. I need to go home. This place is not good for me. Let's just speed this up. And Tara is gonna step into the room. She's gonna attempt to just do like jog lap around the room with her light up to see if there's a door. She's getting impatient now.
You're looking for a door, but what catches your eye as you walk around the room is what's engraved on these plates. And on one of them, you see a figure. They look, like I said, most of the figures on this look like Dragonborn. And one of them is the humanoid-shaped Dragonborn figure, and it is bursting out of its skin, becoming this massive monster. Just like that, just a grotesque, muscular form beyond what it has, and it's just engraved into one of these metal plates. That catches your eye. And the other thing that's noticeable is just next to that is a figure of a Dragonborn crouched low. In one hand, they're like grasping at the earth and picking it up, and you can see bits of dirt fall between their fingers. And then like they are drawing a dagger from like a belt behind their back and kind of like looking up as though tracking something. But that particular image has blood smeared across it. And yeah, actually, if you want to do a thing.
I think this would like skid her to a bit of a halt. She was doing a very it was close to being a jog. Like she's now impatient, wants to get on with this. But that's gonna like stop her in her tracks, and she moves closer to have a look, and she'll go to scratch at the blood with the wand to try and tell how recent it is.
As you go and touch the blood with the tip of your wand, it smears off as though it's fresh. Or it is fresh.
She'll just mumble, "Oh shit," and leans in to actually take a bit of a closer look at the actual image. And also the blood smear to tell, does it look like a handprint? Does it look like something's sort of fallen against it?
It definitely looks like something is brushed it there intentionally. I wouldn't say a handprint, but it doesn't look like it like you're talking about like a body is kind of pressed against it and blood, that kind of thing. It probably definitely looks more like someone with a handprint just like smeared it across.
But purposeful.
But it's not leaving a
accidental
print. Exactly.
Okay. Her jaw and fists sort of clench and unclench a little bit, and she takes a couple of steps back. And will do a quick like glance from side to side to make sure there's not some like hidden Dragonborn crouching to stab her.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
Well, that's not good. 11.
Okay. You look around and you have the sense that you're not alone in this room, but you don't see anyone. What you do notice is that these sheets of metal are hanging probably about 2 feet away from the wall. And they're just sort of suspended in this place. So there is room behind them for people to hide.
Ah! She. Do you know what? She's smart. Oh, but is she? How annoyed is this making her? I think she will quietly start to sort of back around, like continuing round. She doesn't go back on herself, but trying to get back to where everybody else is.
Okay. What is everybody else doing?
Silene is actually assuming that Visik is a little further away from the door now. Basically, kind of rudely saying, "When did you learn what a big magical key looks like?"
He, without giving much thought, says, "Some knowledge you're just born with." And then kind of gives a shake and looks at you and says, "Why?"
It just doesn't seem like you, to be perfectly honest. I didn't think that this was an interest of House Alrius.
Visik has many strange interests.
Okay. All right. Yep. She's backing out of this conversation quickly.
What is Berin doing?
That is a great question. That is a very good question. I think Berin is kind of just holding Artemisia, feeling a little bit useless in that sense, in that he's kind of all carried up. He's not got great eyesight. He's just sort of following the pack, so he's gone from being this leader trailblazing with the light behind Visik to just da 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 da. So I think he's actually going to stick around with Silene for this one. Kind of just, I mean, why not? Just every once in a while prod Artemisia, be like, make fun of Silene. Do it. And at the comment when Visik's just like, you're just born with this knowledge, Berin's going to go, and really, Visik, you're born with the knowledge of getting whipped in the face by a cattail? You were born with the knowledge of magical keys? What kind of person is born with that?
I'd like both of you to give me a perception check as you're talking with Visik. Beautiful. You muted yourself.
Yeah, there. I was just like, I muted myself. No, a beautiful crumbs. Now I full screen myself. 19.
A beautiful 19. Looking at Visik, you see him sort of suddenly check out of the conversation. You've seen this on him before, where he's like kind of lost himself, but in this moment, it's like he's gone from intently listening and talking with Silene to like he is searching about the shadows behind you, as though like looking for something. And you hear footsteps coming from the shadows. And as you turn around to see what's approaching, you see a white figure, a dragonborn with the same red veins coming up its flesh, and it says, "Yes, Visik, why don't you tell them why you know this place?" And as it does, it draws a sword and says, "Or does knowledge come with a price?"
Berin is going to very calmly and collectedly just kind of place Artemisia down and will walk up towards this white dragonborn, also drawing his sword. "You will not draw a sword to one of my party. State your business."
"I'm here for him."
"And what quarrel do you have with a raving lunatic?"
"I'm here to take him home."
"And where might that be? I believe another one of my companions in this party also knows where his home is."
This dragonborn hasn't been looking at you as you're talking to him. It's been looking at Visik. And it snaps its attention onto you for a second and says, "You don't really know what the fuck is going on here, do you?" And it draws its sword back as though it's ready to stab you. You are welcome to roll initiative.
Well, it couldn't be much worse than a 3.
That's true. Rest of you can roll initiative too if you want.
Oh, I mean, I am. I'm right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get a good roll, 21.
Okay, I gotta write all this shit down. So 21 for Silene. Total of 3 for Baron?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
16 for me.
$16 for Tara. And let's see, that was one of the NPCs, and that was the other NPC. Okay. Silene, you'll be the first person to be able to react as this stranger pulls his sword back and is ready to impale Baron.
Cool. Well, I guess she draws her sword. Although I think it's going to be I think I'm just gonna have to do a ready to action.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to start any shit. But she will counter to everything that she has been taught and that Baron would like, or her mother's would like. She will actually step in front of Baron with her sword at the ready to. I know. I'm sorry, dude. This is an instinctual response, because yeah, that's where instinctively she's going with this. And so if it attacks, I didn't really think that far ahead. She doesn't actually have any attack spells or anything. So it's mostly just she would be attempting to parry with, I guess, with an attack of her own.
Okay, so if it attacks Baron, she is going to stab it. That is the goal?
Sure.
Okay. So that makes it Tara's turn. You were in the other room. You were making your way back after seeing this, and as you get to the doorway, you see just outside this confrontation.
Am I in moving distance to then try and put myself between Silene and the Dragonborn?
You get person, and then another person, and then another person. I think you could move up. I think we're getting to that point where there's not enough room for anyone else to really
She
intervene.
would be shoving someone out of the way.
Okay. So you're gonna move forward and shove Berin or Silene out of the way.
Well, it would be.
Or you're gonna push the Dragonborn back.
Yeah. Wow, would she? Oh, let me. Because nothing's actually like started yet. There's just a lot of.
I mean, I guess in this
squaring up.
situation, you're in that moment where, because it's the way combat is functioning. It's all moving so fast. You've stepped in, you've seen the situation. He is pulling his sword back, like he's already drawn it, and he is pulling it back, and he was ready to stab Berin.
Right,
Like, that's
okay.
actually what was in the process of happening when Silene stepped in. So if Selene's reaction is to attack him before, like if he stabs Berin, he's already doing that. Like,
there's no easy thing to roll that is parry, so like redirect blade. There's no, I mean, that's my best option is attack, but what she's trying to do is redirect the blade so that it goes past her.
So I will say for your action, I'm gonna make up a thing instead of a ready to action. I'm gonna let you do like a fighter ability, which is to like impose disadvantage. But if the disadvantage misses Berin, but still hits you, it would hit you instead.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm gonna say is your action.
Sure.
And so essentially right now what you're walking into is this Dragonborn pulling its sword back and swinging it toward Berin and Silene. This is an action of violence.
Okay.
It is in the midst of an attack.
Then I guess she's gonna. Oh, that's so crap though. Why did I take that spell? Oh god. She is going to. Oh my god, I can't make a decision. She's gonna. Everything I've got is like takes up space and is gonna hit other people, or is just really like not good.
I'm having the same problem.
Yeah, okay. She's gonna run, and pushes. She's gonna push Silene out of the way. And as she does, that kind of guttural noise can be heard, like kind of from deep in her throat, as she like hits this sort of sprint. No, she's gonna jump on the guy. Right, kind of that. Okay, so the same thing. She breaks out into a sprint. This like growl sort of building up somewhere inside her, and she's just gonna run full force at the Dragonborn and essentially try to tackle him.
Okay. So make a grapple check. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Oh god.
It's okay. I roll like crap today.
Athletics. 15.
Okay.
Oh, what's that?
Like,
What's the thing I've got from Silene? Can I use that on this? The
that's
Bardic
for
Inspiration
intelligence
thing?
checks.
Or is it just...
No, it's for any check, and
okay.
it's a d6.
So can I add it or not?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like the spirits aiding.
18 then.
All right. So as you charge forward, you bring your arms and just bring them around this Dragonborn. You almost feel as though there's another force like not behind you, but like on the other side of him, like grabbing your arms and pulling tighter. So like you're essentially like feel like someone is helping you for a moment. You like clamp its arms to its side, and it's straining against you, but it's just long enough for you to pretty much tackle and push him away from Silene and Berin, so that it's no longer making an attack against them. And with that, Artemisia like scoops up. No, Amelia scoops up Artemisia from where Berin had left her. Again, this is the fault of me for having characters with the same letter names. And as like Artemisia is holding her hand out, like in a fist, with the ring pointed at the Dragonborn that Tara just tackled, and she weakly says, like, calls for Tara to get out of the way. And then as she does, a blast of energy shoots from that ring, and it misses the both of you, just shoots right over the shoulder of Tara and the Dragonborn. And with that, it is... Wait, how did I screw up this order? Oh, no, that's Borstad. Okay. It's Borstad's turn, who brings his flaming blade forward and comes charging into the fray. And he like runs past where you two are at and makes a swing on the Dragonborn. And his sword like slams into its back just above where your hands are at, Tara. But you can see the flames and the metal like stop, as though this thing is wearing some kind of armor, but it just stops like inches from him. And you can even feel the warmth of the blade against your arms. And then the Dragonborn begins to like strain its muscles, and you need to make a strength check as it's trying to break your grapple. Fuck, it's from low, but that is still an 18 or 16.
16 as well.
Okay. You two continue to like sort of struggle, and it rears its head back and just headbutts you.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be I'm pretty sure that'll hit. It's over 20 to hit.
Yeah, even with mage armor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is 8 damage as it headbutts you in the face.
Oh, okay.
And now it's Baron's turn.
There is, as her head sort of reels back from this, and there's some blood comes down from her nose, that like growly scream starts up again. No one else would see, but she is like, her face looks hot with like anger. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, so if I've got this correct in my head, then Tara and the Dragonborn are now kind of brawling each other, right? So would one say that Tara is within 5 feet of me?
Yes, one would say Tara's within 5 feet of you.
Well, you know what? That is just bloomin' fantastic, because I finally get to do something. So I'm going to spend one of my superiority dice, and I'm going to do a bait and switch. And seeing as I started this, and then Silene came to protect me, God knows why, and then Tara decided to come and protect me, well, you know what? I'm going right back round, and in my mind, I just kind of like walk forward, kind of give Tara a wee pat on the head, and then kind of push her back. And I take center stage. And then I'm just going to wail on this Dragonborn with my big ass sword. Because, yeah, we're going to teach this monkey a lesson. Let me just roll my Sorry.
Real quick, Tara, are you going to let him just push you apart?
Apart?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if she would. She would probably if she would fight it.
Okay.
Sorry.
So if you have multiple attacks, it would take one of your attacks to break their grapple, or you would be attacking with disadvantage.
I feel like I've messed it up.
It's okay. You're playing what your character would do. It's all good.
Then, see, I only have the one attack. I am going to use that to break up the grapple.
Okay.
And then kind of break up the grapple. Would I? So that would be my attack. I would still be able to do my maneuver, wouldn't I? But
yes, because I think your maneuver is a bonus action, right?
It is. See, I am. Let's have a look. So it says action surge. So it's maneuver special, but then I have to spend a superiority dice, which would be an. Would that be an action? No, that you're correct. It's bonus action. It's fine. But the creature has to be willing.
Are you doing it
I'm doing it to Tara. So is Tara willingly letting me go in front of her?
I think so. There's the moment of where Berin comes in and tries to separate the two of them, and you get this. Her head snaps around to look at you, and you can see there's like blood coming down from her very small. She has a very small little snub nose, and there's now like blood sort of pouring down from it. And there's a moment where she looks at you as if it looks like she doesn't recognize you. There's like a moment of like anger and like almost like you're looking at like a wild animal. But then she will sort of grit her teeth and she will sort of jump herself out of the way for you.
Oh, exciting. Okay. So that happens. Now, I'm completely lost where we are. Where are we in relationship? In relationship? Interesting.
Well,
I feel like that's a little bit early on to be asking that one. Where are we in this relationship? But where are we in relation to the obelisk room?
You guys are probably maybe 10 feet outside the door to the obelisk room.
And
maybe a little more than that, but yeah.
Did the Dragonborn come out of there, or was that...
No, he's coming from the library toward that
He's
room.
coming... That's where I was getting myself confused. So Berin is going... He's done all of his kind of actiony things, so he's going to shout to everyone, get back into the room. Back up. Let me take the hits. And then he is going to the Dragonborn, saying Draconic, lower your weapon.
You hear in response something that is not Dragonborn and is not spoken from its lips, but is directly into your head. I would like you to make a wisdom saving throw, and while you make that wisdom saving throw, I'd like you to tell me if you know deep speech.
I don't know deep speech.
Very
and
good.
That is, it was a wisdom saving throw, so it's a 7.
Okay. You hear a just screeching, scraping, not even something that vocalizations can create in your head, and you are now frightened of this creature. And then you all see these black tendrils begin to rise up from the ground and wrap around the creature's arms and legs and pull it back. And Visik, from behind all of you, says, Berin is right. You can't take this creature into the obelisk room. Run!
So I feel like Berin is now at the forefront of that party.
And it's Silene, it's your turn. If you look back at Visik, you'll see that he's holding this object. It's a dodecahedron with these little holes in it, and there's something swirling inside of it, something metallic. And out of that is coming these black tendrils that are coming out into the ground and back out around this Dragonborn.
Silene will say to Tara, is it safe in there?
I mean, no, but is it safe out here?
Traps. Are there traps? Is it?
No, just go in the room. It's not the time to be talking about traps. Just go, woman.
She didn't investigate it. She doesn't know what's in there. Then she will retreat to the room.
Okay. So that makes it Tara's turn.
one sort of look over her shoulder at the Dragonborn, and then she will also run to that
All
room.
right. Amelia carries Artemisia as Artemisia launches another bolt of just essentially wind from her ring. It doesn't even hit the Dragonborn because I'm rolling like shit. And Borstad takes this moment to bring his sword, his flaming sword up. And this, like, if he had both hands, he'd be using both of them, but he just brings the one up and just brings it across the creature's chest. And you see the blade, like, bite into its chest, and no blood comes out at all. And then the Dragonborn, like, one of its hands is burst from the tentacle grasp and grabs Borstad by the throat and lifts him up into the air, and just you see the fingers squeeze tight into his neck, and you see like blood start to drip from where the claws are digging in, and then he like turns his wrist, and you guys hear the loud crack of Borstad's neck. And then with that, like it just breaks free of Visik's grapple, and dragging Borstad with its hand and lifting its sword with the other, it starts walking towards the obelisk room. Berin, what are you going to do?
Well, Berin is bloody frightened. So, counter to his proclamation of "I've got this, everybody," he's going to turn tail and probably just run.
Okay. As you turn tail and run, you make it into the obelisk room. Varric right at your heels. And as soon as Varric gets through the door, he holds the object up. The same black tendrils come up, grab the archway, and yank. The stone begins to crack and crumble. And you see the Dragonborn walking closer, and it takes Borstad's body and just hurls it into the room as the stone collapses on the archway and like completely just close this entranceway off. The Dragonborn slams into Varric, tumbling them both to the ground. Visik, tumbling them both to the ground. And then there's just sort of like a moment of breath as the only entranceway that you're aware of to this room has been collapsed. And you can't even really hear the Dragonborn on the other side anymore. And it is the six of you now with Borstad in his current fate. In this room with this 15-foot obelisk and these metal plates with these figures on them. Yeah, there's just a moment of quiet. And then you guys begin to hear the sound of grinding metal as the plates along the walls begin to shift and move, and the floor below you begins to rumble. And that is where we're going to end for today.